All right, y'all. So today on the channel, I want to talk about my experience going to SummerSlam 2026. So we got into Minneapolis, Minnesota, Friday. I want to say around 11ish or 12ish, something like that. The Superstore was already open. So that was the first thing we did was we went to the Superstore and yeah, I purchased a couple of photo ops. Well, more than a couple, actually, throughout the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday weekend. So we got in Friday, kind of looked around the Superstore, and the first thing I was interested in doing was actually doing the Superstar entrance, because I wanted to do a Carmelo Hayes Superstar entrance since I was cosplaying as Carmelo Hayes. And that was the first thing I got out of the way. After that, we checked out some of the items in the shop. A lot of the things, but, you know, I really wasn't trying to spend money on merch. I got plenty of merch. So I figured the money that I spend there would be, you know, mostly stuff for Wrestlecon, which was also going on in our hotel, actually. The Hilton had Wrestlecon going on all 3 days as well. So the first thing I had to do, actually, I didn't have any photo ops at the Superstore Friday, so the majority of that was actually just spent kind of there, you know, walking around, meeting other people, you know, taking pictures as a cosplayer, you know, trying all the stuff. We went to Danhausen's frozen treat truck that the Minneapolis were actually running. That was a lot of fun. Like I said, I did my Superstar entrance as Carmelo Hayes. You know, a lot of people liked it. We, you know, checked out items at the shop. I checked out all the championship belt replicas. Didn't buy any, of course. We actually signed up for a Club WWE out there, which actually paid off quite a bit. You know, you get to go to the front of the lines for stuff like that. Club WWE also gives you some photo ops if wrestlers come over to the Club WWE area, but I think you only get about, I want to say 20 minutes per line, and then they kind of take off and do their thing. But, you know, if you're able to snag a photo, it's still worth it because, you know, free photos are always the best ones. So I think we weren't allowed to check into our hotel room until about 3. So after the hotel check-in, I believe we went to Wrestlecon for a little bit. And at Wrestlecon, I met Harley Cameron and Zoe Stark that day. Actually, I also met Megan Bayne, AEW's Megan Bayne. So those are the 3 wrestlers I met on Friday. And then we went back to the Superstore a little later just to kind of kill some more time, enjoy the night, and there were actually some free photo ops going on there. Lizzie Rain and what's Stephanie Vaquer's boyfriend's name? It was Lizzie Rain and Stephanie Vaquer's boyfriend. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank here because he's a hell of a talent, NXT North American champion. But we met those two, and let me just say this right here. Lizzie Rain was probably one of the best things about the entire weekend. Now, they were doing free photo ops, and Lizzie Rain was an absolute sweetheart. I mean, she was complimenting my cosplay, chatting it up, just saying, you know, you look amazing, this and that. You know, she gave me a hug. She was admiring the cosplay, and you know, all the photos I took with her were just nice. And she was just an absolute joy to be around. And she actually was doing some of the activities over there in the Superstore. So I'm going to give you all a word of advice. If you ever encounter Lizzie Rain at a show or she's somewhere doing photo ops, please take this opportunity to meet her because she's going to make it worth it. Even though she was a free photo op for me, I'm telling you, if she's that kind for a free photo op, just imagine, like, you know, if you pay for one or something. So, yeah, I think you know, I might be jumping the gun here telling you guys about my experience, but I think Lizzie Rain might have been one of the best things about the entire weekend aside from the SummerSlam event itself. So majority of Friday was just kind of spent at WrestleCon and just kind of, you know, browsing the Superstore. Actually, I think my wife had a photo op with Kevin Owens then, or maybe it was Saturday, I don't know. I honestly can't remember. So Saturday, I had a lot of photo ops. You know, Saturday I had way more. I believe I had my first photo op Saturday. What was my first photo op? I believe it might have actually been Chelsea Green. And, that photo op, I've gotten it before, but I did it again because it was worth it. And I had very, high expectations that she was going to walk out of SummerSlam as the women's champion. And you know what? I got my wish, thankfully. So I met Chelsea Green. I met Tatum Paxley. Actually, my first photo op that Saturday was Zarya. Zarya is my favorite NXT female superstar, by the way. Who else did I get that day? Got Solo Sikoa. Solo was really cool. Now, I actually thought he and I shared the same birthday, but we don't. His is actually the 17th and mine is the 18th. Let's see, who else did I get that day? Some more of the free photo ops I got that day, I believe, were Tony D'Angelo. And, well, Lizzie Rain was there again, so I got it again. And the MFT. Yeah, MFT. And also, I forgot to mention that on Friday, Grayson Waller actually stopped his photos for a while and came out and acknowledged my Carmelo Hayes cosplay and did like a kind of a fake challenge for SummerSlam. And that was a cool experience too. I also got a picture with Grayson Waller. So that was a cool experience. What other photo ops did I have that day? I had, let's see. I don't know how I'm letting this one slip, but that was that was also my photo op day with Carmelo Hayes. Now, my experience meeting Carmelo Hayes was excellent. There's only one little small issue I had with it. We took 2 professional photo ops because Carmelo Hayes wanted the photographer to take one for himself. He wanted to do a face-off photo. Now, when I went to go pick up my photo op, though, unfortunately, that's the one I got, and that wasn't my pose of choice. I figured we both should be facing the camera. So I ended up with the face-off pose. But, it is what it is. The experience was fantastic. Carmelo Hayes acknowledged the hell out of my cosplay, said, hey, I got a bunch of wrestlers here that told me about you, that said you were here today, so I was looking forward to this. And I also got Jade Cargill's photo op that day. I don't know if I said Jada Parker already or not, but got Jada Parker. Oh, Charlotte. I got Charlotte Flair. I actually was able to do my dance pose with both Charlotte Flair and Chelsea Green. Now, when I posted these photos in a group Mania Club, there was a person that commented and said, Charlotte kind of looks uncomfortable in the pic. But see, here's the thing. Charlotte told me that, when I asked for the dance pose, when we were done, she told me she felt honored. And a lot of people looked at it like she's making the face like she's honored in the pic. When that person told me that she felt uncomfortable, I'm not going to lie, I kind of felt stupid. But, it was still cool meeting her. Charlotte was very friendly. And hopefully she wasn't uncomfortable with that photo. I really hope not, because that was not my intention. I like to strike that pose with a lot of people because you guys know, I'm in dance and stuff like that. So I just think it's a cool pose. I don't mean any harm by any of it. I feel like I might be forgetting some photo ops that I had. I'm trying to remember if I went Saturday to Wrestlecon to get any more photos. But I don't believe I did. I know, and also, I'm going to talk about Saturday at SummerSlam show itself. I thought the show was really good. I mean, I kind of thought Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi didn't really need the Hell in a Cell. I kind of thought they barely used it, and I thought that finish was kind of stupid when Oba did the fall from grace. He should have picked him up and did it again onto the exposed wood. Like when Brock Lesnar tombstoned him on it. That would have been a better finish. But it is what it is. Overall, the event was fantastic. But, my favorite match actually might have been Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. Even though Liv Morgan won the match. And I'm not a fan of Liv Morgan, at all. The match was great, but I don't like Liv Morgan. And that takes me to Sunday. Now, Sunday was interesting. Sunday, someone let us know that we were able to go upstairs and have breakfast with the wrestlers from Wrestlecon, like the wrestling legends. And so I was able to go up there and have breakfast with Rick Martel, Demolition, Honky Tonk Man was up there. Who else was up there? I want to say, Tito Santana. And I don't remember who else was up there. It might have been maybe Paul Ellering or something like that. But that was cool having breakfast with a lot of the wrestlers and hearing Honky Tonk Man chatted up about stories on the road, stuff like that. It was just a really good experience. And have free breakfast with the wrestlers. It It was awesome. And I even got to talk to Demolition like afterward, like on the elevator. And those guys were awesome. You know, Barry Darso was basically telling me, you know, you kind of look like a wrestler, man. Because I was cosplaying as Carmelo too. And I told him I used to. And I showed him the injury, the scar on my wrist. I showed it to him. And he was like, isn't that supposed to be a work, man? And, you know, kind of joked it up a little bit. And, you know, I told him that's why I kind of had to hang the wrestling gear up. But he was really nice. He was awesome to talk to. I also ran into Perry Saturn that day. You know, when I did my review on, like, who were the nicest wrestlers I met, and Perry Saturn was on that list. Yeah, it was cool running into Perry again. Also, Rob Van Dam was super duper nice when I ran into him in the hall, too. You know, gave me a fist bump. And now as the cosplay, Rob Van Dam has been cool every single time I've passed him. Like, honestly, he's either giving me a high five or a fist bump, and he's just a really cool dude, man. Also, talked to Mick Foley when he was coming off the elevator. Mick Foley, he was an absolute joy. You know, that made my wife's day because my wife was always a big fan of him. So she got to chat it up with him for free. There was a lot of wrestlers, you know, down in the lobby of the hotel, but some of them you could just tell didn't want to be bothered. And, you know, I understand, man. You're there for the convention. It's not your priority to make friends with anybody. Like, Hardy Boys were down there, didn't really want to be fucked with, but, you know, I get it. They was trying to make their money at the con. Road Dogg actually told a dude to stop filming him because, you know, he was having a private conversation with Jeff Jarrett, and I totally understood that. And by the way, Jeff Jarrett was really cool too. Jeff Jarrett, you know, chatted up with me a little bit. He was cool. Mark Henry chatted with me on Friday. Mark Henry was awesome. He actually said when I first walked by, he thought I was Carmelo Hayes. So, you know, that was kind of funny. It made me laugh. I showed him a picture of when I was cosplaying of Carmelo Hayes, because when I actually was at the Wrestlecon for Mark Henry, I think I might have switched back into my regular clothes at this time. But yeah, these were cool experiences. But Sunday, I was kind of getting off topic there. Now Sunday, I had a photo op with Fatal Influence for WWE, all three of them at once. That was also cool too. They had this rule, you know, only thing you can do when you go in is fist bump them and all that. And so, you know, it is what it is. But the cool thing about that was JC Jane, when she saw my cosplay, she actually pulled out her own phone and took a selfie with me and sent it right to Carmelo Hayes right in front of me. So that was another highlight of my weekend. And I want to say I went back to Wrestlecon to get somebody else's photo. I think that was when I got Shotzi's. Shotzi was really cool. I probably got about 20 pictures with Shotzi. This guy just kept taking like photos, and it was awesome. She was very friendly. You know, she's killing it on the indies. I love Shotzi Blackheart. I really do. And I also got a picture with the WWE Women's ID Champion, Lanie Luck. Lanie Luck was an absolute sweetheart too. You know, I hope she gets into WWE NXT and just does big things because she's very friendly. She's a very good worker, and she's just very sweet. So yeah, I gotta throw a shout out to Lanie Luck too. Oh yeah, I also met Zoe Stark, which I want to say she's Zoe Serrano now or something like that, and she was an absolute sweetheart too. I always did like Zoe Stark. I loved her finisher. Honored to finally get to meet her. I don't think. Oh, another cool thing that happened to me Sunday was when I got, you know, all freshened up and ready to go to the SummerSlam event. I go downstairs and guess who I bump into? O'Shea Jackson Jr. You know, I saw he was out there chatting with people. He took a picture of one guy, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my chance now and try to get a picture with him. I didn't want to bug him or nothing. I just tapped him on the shoulder. I said, hey, man, you got a time for a quick picture, brother? And he was like, yeah, no doubt. So we took that pic, and that was cool. You know, I wanted my wife to get one with him too, but, you know, she wasn't too worried about it. So it is what it is. But I want to say thank you to my wife, Reed, for taking the picture of me and O'Shea Jackson Jr. That was really nice of you too. And Sunday at SummerSlam was a really fun time as well. I gotta say, SummerSlam though, Sunday night too, was so much better. I mean, the matches were just on point. I was not a fan of that Trick Williams Baron Corbin finish. I don't know why the hell Baron Corbin had to be given the United States title when it should have been Carmelo Hayes in that damn match. Made no sense to me. I don't know why they keep doing Carmelo Hayes like this. The return of Kevin Owens was pretty awesome. I got to say that. Him becoming a number one contender, although I think Sami Zayn's going to probably cost him the championship when this happens. See what other matches. Oh, don't even get me started on Chelsea Green winning the interim WWE Women's Championship. I popped like a son of a bitch when she won that title. I'm surprised I even have a voice right now. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, that match was fantastic. I feel like I'm missing some matches here, but you know, I'm just kind of speaking about what comes right off the top of my mind. Oh, Penta and Chad Gable was fine. I thought Penta tapped out a little too quick for the finish. Is what it is. You know, Fatal Influence against the Bellas and Paige. I knew the turn was coming as soon as Fatal Influence picked up the win. Is what it is. Danhausen and Dominic was just, it was whatever. It was fun, I guess. It was fine. See if there's anything else we did. No, I think after that we just kind of walked back to our hotel. But interesting story about walking back to our hotel is I was actually shit talked by somebody in a car, in an SUV, driving past, and they said to me, "Hey, look, it's the fake ass Carmelo Hayes, little midget ass punk." And the car was going real slow when they said it, so I yelled out. I said, "Why don't you shut up?" I said, "It's called the cosplay, punk. Why don't you get out of the car and talk it in my face?" So they pulled over or whatever, and like I started walking up closer. Guys, I was not in the mood to take any trash. Now I don't like to fight, but I just was this night. I just wasn't having it. So I started walking up to the car and I said, "Are you ready to talk that trash to my face now?" You know what the car did? The car just drove off. So I don't know if it was just some young punk trying to be funny, but I wasn't having it. I was not in the mood, especially walking around with a bunch of people. I did not feel like bitching out. So I mean, with Sunday being night 2, I mean, that was pretty much the end of our SummerSlam weekend until Monday morning when it was time to check out. We did hit the Superstore one more time Sunday night, but we didn't buy anything. But overall, I got to say, this was a very fun experience. This, in my opinion, I said this about Royal Rumble, but this was truly a WrestleMania for me because you got 2 nights of awesome wrestling action. You had all the superstar appearances you could think of. You know, you had free photo ops. You had Club WWE. You had tickets for like free drinks. Hotel was nice, even though there wasn't a hot tub in there. You had to go downstairs to use a microwave. But it was more than what I ever thought it was going to be. It was basically a WrestleMania, like I said. So if I never go to a WrestleMania, I'm going to count this as my WrestleMania moment. But I just wanted to, you know, talk to you guys a little bit about my SummerSlam experience, how much fun it is, and I definitely think it's worth it, especially if you can get the tickets cheaper than when they first sell them. Because we actually ended up upgrading our seats for a cheaper price. So if you can get, you know, decent price tickets for a 2-night event, especially something like SummerSlam or WrestleMania, I think you need to jump on that opportunity and do it, especially if there's stuff planned all weekend. It's definitely worth it, guys. I'm telling you, this is probably the most fun you're going to have. This is definitely my highlight of my year so far. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about my SummerSlam 2026 experience and tell you that it was an A+ experience.
I know he's been interacting here. Please do. I want to also recognize Demolition. Thank you very much for
Yeah.